Yeah.
What the Oh, not again.
Uh-oh, abort. Get out of here.
Uh-oh. Sorry,
What's up,
guys. I'm
Big
taking up the whole
Josh?
screen here. Let me try to do something here.
What's up, guys? Welcome
I
back to
am
Fast.
huge.
Welcome,
Update.
welcome back to Ask Crack Fridays.
All right, we're good now.
Oh yeah, we're good. All right,
Weird.
it's okay. Nobody saw it. There's one person in this stream chat. It might be me. What's up, guys?
What's up, world /
Yo,
us?
yo. People might be filing in. We got 4 people in the queue.
Yeah. Good news is these are recorded and posted on FastTrack. And
Yo.
if you are in the queue and we review you, you'll get an email afterwards saying, "Hey, we reviewed you. Here's your clip."
Mm-hmm.
So we got that going on. But yeah, we've got 4 in the queue already.
Sheesh. And our queue, as always, is always open. But we get through a limited amount of things through songs. So use that link if you guys are watching to submit your song. And if you want to get heard right away, you can tip to skip the line there. But yeah, I don't know where my. Here it is. Okay. But in terms of the queue right now, we have our boy Sonoris, who I'm going to talk to later. We got. It's like all veterans of the stream, actually. Sonoris, Our Eyes, Black. And then if we get to it, our first user ever, Lil Shino.
Little Shino.
Shout out to Lil Shino. I don't know, the absolute trooper that somehow signed up for Fast Track before it was even ready.
Before it was open for access.
Yeah, so they did it. Shout out to you. But okay, we'll tag Sonoris in this. He's in our Discord, which again, people you can go to the Discord too. But once people file in, I'm sure we'll do it again. But yeah, we have the first track, Sonoris. Do you want to just get into it and then see when people come in?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. If you can introduce the song, I'll go ahead and post it.
All right, we've got "I Have Maggots in My Brain." What a
Damn,
title.
I hate when that happens.
Yeah. And the artist is Sonoris. The roles are songwriter and composer, keeping it simple. And genre is emo rap and metal. This will be interesting.
Sheesh. Yeah, he screams on his shit.
If he's only the songwriter and composer, then did somebody else produce and record this?
Let us know.
We'll see.
I think that might be the case. But all right, I'm ready.
All right, let's do it.
3, 2, 1.
Unanswered questions after a 911 call in Pueblo from a funeral home and
Shit's
cemetery.
loud as fuck.
August 11th, just before 3:30 in the morning, the police department communications center got a call that they referred to as abandoned, meaning the other person hung up. So
We haven't heard like painful stuff in a while.
Yeah. I mean, the volume is very real.
They won't ever let me think. All these voices wish I'm dead. I got a knife, I'll leave it dead. So dead depressed. This bitch, I'm crying for a past. Every night, so I'll fucking die. I give these thoughts to the head.
Cried.
I keep a motherfucking gun. All you fuckers be hating and they don't know what I'm about. I said I'm fucking evil bitch and then I'll kill her, drink her blood. All these demons in my head, they making me go insane, yeah. All you fuckers say I fell off and then I kill a motherfucking beating. Say hello to my fucking hack song. I got a fucking C4 strapped into my waist. I found a mushroom. Speaking to myself. I'm a friend, I'm running darkness. I cause my own insanity. Talking to myself. Yeah, I call you fucking spunk, but then I make you guys my enemies.
Interesting.
Damn, bro. How? I mean, you always meter that shit. Like, how fucking loud was that?
I mean,
I had to turn down.
I
So
turned
much.
down like 3 dB, I think.
Eee.
So yeah, I mean, I think the thing that people miss sometimes is that even if your track isn't like technically clipping, although I don't know what the fuck you did on the master bus here, because like,
Mm,
oh my god, is this deep fried?
yeah.
But even if it's not like technically going above zero, if you've got like a lot of concentration of like sound energy or levels in the specific mid-range frequencies the human ear is most sensitive to,
Mm,
it's gonna hurt. At like regular volume, it's gonna hurt, even if your output level looks okay.
mm.
So you got to be like careful and use your ears. And if you've ruined your hearing to the point that you can't hear that this is painful, maybe you just didn't like play it against reference tracks or on a speaker system that can actually reproduce those frequencies.
Or maybe you just damaged your own ears.
Right. Or again, maybe you damage your own ears.
Yeah.
That's a problem, right? If you're going to
Yep.
be like producing stuff and you can't hear that range at all, that's tough.
Mhm.
Maybe you need some sort. I mean, there are like, to go on a tangent, there are systems that can like adjust to your hearing loss, right? So maybe you
Oh,
need that.
mhm,
So if you're missing a bunch of like frequency, then it'll turn up in that area,
mhm,
which is cool. But yeah, I don't know. Overall, as a track, it's like a cool-ish aesthetic, and I say ish because it's not the most accessible,
mhm,
just given all the deep frying and like how aggressive the sound is.
mhm,
It almost makes it a little bit harder to take seriously. I think
mm.
it's kind of like somebody. How do I describe this? Like a really good version of like an aggressive sound
Yep.
is like somebody who's really good at like fighting or something like that,
Mhm.
and they can like
John
fight
Jones.
well and it looks good,
Yeah, yeah.
but like when you just overdo it, it's like a toddler like thrashing around, right?
Damn,
It's like
yeah.
more violent, but it's not as effective
It's like
because you're
John
not.
Jones in MMA and then me in MMA, you know? It's like,
Sure.
"Hey, he's not gonna get the belt."
But
Right?
you know what I mean? Like, it just seems like if you're not able to make like really key important decisions on your sound in a way that is thoughtful
Mm,
rather than like brute force and like I'm just going to like do one thing and then oh my god, I've found the formula for an aggressive sound. I'm just going to fucking clip the master,
mhm,
right? It's not smart enough to be interesting. It's just like it's boring because it's so simple and it doesn't sound like it's been crafted. Like people can sense like craftsmanship to an extent, and the goal of craftsmanship kind of being to emulate like certain feelings, right?
mhm,
Most of the time, just like turning one knob isn't going to induce like a lot of feeling,
mhm,
right? So you got to be more thoughtful about how you make it sound aggressive. You can't
mhm,
just like do something simple and expect a great result. Because
mhm,
if that was the case, everybody would be doing it and they would all sound the same and it would all sound amazing.
mhm,
That's part of it too, is that if something's too easy, it means everybody can do it or it happens by mistake a lot. And that like cheapens the effect of it also, right?
mm,
If there's 2 billion Toyota Corollas on the planet, it's not a really special car, but a Lamborghini is because it's not as attainable. It's rarer, right?
mhm.
Um,
What parts of it do you think were kind of lacking, in the kind of aggressive lane? Because I mean, I thought it was satisfyingly aggressive. I thought it was hard, but I thought the way it was produced is just it literally hurts to listen to. Like this is a song I would want to listen loud, while I'm doing some like hard workout or something.
yeah,
Um, but I literally can't. Like because if I listen to it that loud, then it hurts. Like
yeah.
that's a problem. What's goody little Sheena?
Yo, Lil Shino, our first user, we were just talking
Be
about you.
back. I love that little emoji. But yeah, like I thought it was pretty hard. There are some like in terms of the distortion and stuff. I love how it hits the kick drum as well. Um, I couldn't really understand what the vocalist was saying here and there. And from what I understood, it was like somewhat like hard stuff,
Yeah.
debauchery, which is fine if you're into it. Um, the one thing artistically that I didn't really like was that like robotic like like it was like, "Oh, man, I'm, like, gonna go hard in the gym right now. I'm a freaking max out," and then I get and, like,
I
wait,
guess
this doesn't
so.
really fit, but, yeah, that's why I'm saying, like, curious, like, specifically, what do you think that, you know, um, was, like, kind of like the toddler?
I think the main thing is just a lack of like clarity for the elements of your track to actually speak. In some cases, like at all, right? So if we can't hear like what most of your lyrics are saying because you've done this brute force maneuver to just clip your whole track, then like what's the point of having lyrics and then what's the point of like having the track?
Yep.
unless it's just like a noise piece, right?
Right.
Um, so that's part of it. It's just like, do you make a decision that's like self sabotages your track, right?
Mhm.
If you're just gonna like put all this work into your lyrics and recording and everything, and then you do something stupid, sort of short sightedly, let's say,
Mhm.
which is like, I want this aggressive sound. I'm just gonna clip the master and then not consider the other elements that I've
Mhm.
considered earlier in my process.
Imma damage Chris's ears today. That's what I wanna do.
Yeah, then like that's it. It just takes away from your track. I think the other thing is I can see like yes, there's something kind of cool about how much the kick drum breaks up, but it's like broken up into 1,000 pieces and it doesn't feel like it's glued together at all. The main critique there is that there's not much like impact from the kick, right?
Mhm.
There's a lot of noise and distortion and crackliness that comes out of it, but there's no like thump. There's nothing that's like holding the whole track together or grounding it, right? It doesn't have that low end component to it that makes a kick like hit you in the chest, right?
Mhm.
Is this really so aggressive? Is your little track so hard if the
Damn,
kick
bro.
doesn't even hit us in the chest?
Damn, bro.
Maybe you should have thought of that before you just thought that clipping the whole master would make it harder, right?
You're fighting
So
words.
I mean, it is these things though that like when you really think about it, just one like component of like a vibe is not only one sonic quality,
Mhm.
right? Oh my god. What a revelation. Like a track that sounds really hard isn't just because of distortion.
Mhm.
It's because of the way that the distorted component works with the really oomphy low down bass component, right?
Mhm.
Like bass is another element that feels like powerful.
Mhm.
So you need to like find all the different elements that make a mix feel powerful and make sure you're not sacrificing one for the other
Mhm.
by making some sort of broad strokes, mixing decision.
Yep.
So it's just like consider like the full picture of what makes a track sound hard. It's not just distortion. It's
Mhm.
all these other things. Space can do that sometimes too.
Mhm.
So if you apply too much distortion, you might be sacrificing space that can exist for reverbs and stuff to make it sound big, right?
Mhm.
There's all these different qualities that are like big, power like big is like reverb and space, powerful is like kick drum, like rough around the edges is like distortion, and you don't want to only have one of those in most tracks.
Mhm.
So if you want like maximum amount of everything, you need to like balance those different elements.
Mhm. I'm gonna try playing this real quick. Jump scare alert.
Oh boy.
Nope. Listening back, I think the kick does have some impact, but
It's got some impact. I mean, I think that the impact is hitting a little bit too high. Like the
yeah.
more distortion you add, the more it translates the impact like upwards in the frequency spectrum. And
Actually, it might also I was just listening to it at, like, quote, unquote, "normal volume."
Mhm.
If I lowered it back down to where I was, maybe that would also be the case. Like, it might just
Yeah,
be, like, a volume issue. Because
that's
God,
true
those
also, yeah.
hi-hats do not need to be that loud. Holy wow.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
that's the important thing about if one element of your mix is too loud,
Mhm.
it actually makes everything else quieter.
Quieter. Yep.
Which is like, oh, that sucks. Like that's again the same thing if you can't be like a maximalist in every mixing decision. That because it doesn't it's a zero sum game. Like when you add more of something in one place, it takes away from something somewhere else.
Mhm.
There's a limited amount of like both frequency space, there's a limited amount of stereo space, and there's a limited amount of volume space.
Mhm.
So like it literally is a zero sum game, especially today with like the mixing wars, right? If you need to be at like peak loudness, then you don't have any room to play around with stuff. Like if you make something louder, something else is going to get masked or it needs to get quieter in order to not clip the entire track.
Yep.
So, yeah, you got to just think about those decisions like that.
Mhm. Mhm. Yep. But otherwise, like, I don't know too many reference artists in this space, but I do know of someone who's called Corpse Husband, who I think he's mostly actually like a video game streamer,
Hmm.
but he does this like kind of like delivery. I think the delivery here was much better than what I've heard from like Corpse Husband. So like this is Corpse Husband, but hard for me. I like the energy that the guy brings. I think he's believable. Um, the fact that the mix makes my ears hurt is like the biggest detractor for me. And then, artistically speaking, I just wouldn't want the like there. It's like interesting,
I
but
didn't
like
mind that part, honestly, but yeah,
I was just
each
like,
their own.
I just want to like scream and like, uh, I didn't hear much of the lyrical content at all. Like when I think of songs like this, like I love it when people scream along. Like, imagine like a mosh pit that's doing that, and like they would be screaming along to a chorus that is like memorable. So I think of people like XXX Tentacion and Ski Master Slump God. Like they're I think their song is like Take a Step Back, where it's like deep fried like this. Doesn't hurt to listen to you, but you can blast it loud, and the chorus is like fucked up, fucked up. Like it's like you could sing along, right away, and you can, mosh and punch some dude in the face, and everyone's like, yeah, they won't care. So yeah, that would just be like some, I guess, overall advice from me. But uh, it is hard. It's just makes my ears hurt. Don't make my ears hurt, please. You have a score for vibes?
Yeah.
Okay, 3, 2, 1. Yeah. At first, I was at a 69, but
Yeah.
to be realistic here. Okay,
Uh,
content.
for content, I mean, I think the production's really the issue. I think
That's
the
the biggest
content
issue for
is
real.
like interesting. I
Yeah.
think that underneath the layers of like reductive distortion, there is some cool stuff, right? I think the structure is like okay. I think it makes sense.
Hmm.
Um, I think there's some catchiness factor to it
Yeah.
too. I don't know if there's, aside from the sonic part, it's weird. The like mixing is kind of the unique part, but it's also the part that's damaging the experience a little bit.
Oh yeah.
But like underneath that, I don't know if there's anything super like special or unique. Like I think the melodies are kind of catchy, but they're kind of like what's the word, derivative.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, it just didn't seem like super new to me in terms of the musical content
True.
underneath.
Hmm.
And the structure wasn't mind-blowing. Like it made sense with how the sections changed, but there was nothing really like super new about it, I didn't think.
Hmm.
Or necessarily super like captivating necessarily. It's
Hmm.
kind of one flavor throughout, right?
Yep. Yep.
um
Yeah, stylistically, I like the production style of it. I like
it's
the
a
deep
cool
fried shit.
flavor. It's just
Yeah.
like, is it complex enough to be interesting for a whole song?
I think the most unique thing was the element that I point out where it's like yang yang yang, like it it,
Yeah.
it sounds like a robotic cat, but like I think that could be changed with, first thing that comes to mind is like a little less Q, a little less resonant kind of
Mm,
frequency from that robotic sound. It could be cool, and I mean, I keep talking about it. It's memorable, um, but I think that was like the only kind of truly unique thing that I've heard. I've heard like the corpse husband delivery. I've heard the screaming delivery, but I think he does it very well too. So there's that. Um,
mhm.
but yeah, I can agree with you there. It's not the most original thing, but yeah, I
Yeah, I
think
don't know.
I agree with you that the production is definitely the worst of the scores, but content was like pretty decent.
Yeah.
So you have a score?
Yep.
3, 2, 1. Brr. Ugh.
Boom.
69. Production?
Yeah, and then we talked about production. It's
We
just
sure
like
did.
gotta balance everything. That mixing is all about balance. So if your balance is off, it makes it really hard to digest as a listener.
Hmm. And I love the style of it. I love the deep fried of it. It's just I don't like it when something makes my ears hurt. So
Yeah.
please don't do that. And yeah, fix the bounces on the hi-hats and the snare. I think that those were like uber loud compared to everything else. And maybe if you do that, the kicks would thump us in the chest. So you ready?
Hmm.
3, 2, 1. Pow.
Boom.
Yep. Track total.
Yeah, let's see. Track total. All right, I've got a track total.
Calculating. Calculating. All right, 3, 2, 1. Okay,
Nice.
cool. All right. That was Sonorous and Scray, or not Scray, excuse me. That's a different thing. That is Sonorous there, guys. Let me see. Let me get this thing. I put it in there already, but you guys can join our Discord using this link, Bababooey. Or I think also if you click that, I should have said rate the track here. Boom. You can give a rating similar to how we did it, just by following the link there. But thank you, Sonorous. I will talk to you later. Hopefully, we don't make your short list in terms of murder victims. I'm just kidding. I don't know. He
Yeah,
makes
no,
really like terrifyingly hard music. So
yeah, that's true. We're just trying to
but
get you to make it even harder,
yeah, damn, bro. Pause. All right,
Yeah.
I didn't say that.
Yeah.
Josh said that.
Well,
Okay.
that can go in the Yap database.
Yeah. I wish, bro. I wish. I'm a good
um
yapper. So
Also, Little Shino, yes, we're streaming on Fridays, although we were on a Tuesday last week. Why do you ask? I'm curious. And also, just so you know, we only have limited time today because we've got a shortened stream. We got like a half stream. So we've got probably time for 3. And Little Shino, you are unlucky because you are number 4 right now. So
Man.
you can probably see on the site in the queue, it shows what the cutoff is there for today being guaranteed. If you want to skip, I think you know how to do that. There's a tip link there, or a tip box above your submission on the site. And if you're just curious because you saw that you might not get reviewed today, then yes, we'll be back next Friday.
Yes.
And yeah, just so everyone knows, we review every track that is submitted in order, unless you tip to skip, which is $5 minimum. And yeah, that's how we do it here.
Yep. We'll see if we'll get through the other songs faster, but yeah, that's the likelihood right now, Lil Shino. What is the hard cutoff, Josh?
Probably about 6:30.
6:30.
So
Right. Oh,
I have
we
time
gotta
for 2
go.
more.
We gotta
Yeah.
go.
Yes, sir.
All right. What's the next song?
Rabbit Hole by Our Eyes.
Sheesh. I've been trying to
So,
get a hold of this guy. All right.
oh
Can you
yeah.
go ahead and introduce it, please?
Yes, sir. So it's Rabbit Hole. It's his role as producer. Track genre is house. The artist is Our Eyes. And his description is, I don't think I've sent yet, but want to self-release. Any tippy whoopadilby welcome heart
Did he do this when
emoji.
he was fucking? Was he the one hitting the what is it? The dab with a battery? I
Oh,
forget.
maybe. Could have
Was
been.
that him?
Yeah, it might have been.
Okay, but I hope you're not dead, Our Eyes. But thanks
Oh
for the
god.
description.
Shit.
But yeah, I mean, let's do it. You ready?
Yeah. I just want to make sure though. Why
up?
is this played halfway through? That's weird. The waveform shows it as being played halfway through. Unless it didn't push to live. Hold on, let me try playing it. Uh-oh.
Having some trouble?
Yeah, this is strange. I'm gonna
You need to
refresh.
it. Yeah. Okay.
Weird. Uh-oh. Looks like somebody submitted a file that doesn't work.
What?
Yeah.
That happens?
I guess so. We'll have to see what the deal is there. It's happened once or twice, but yeah, something is up with that file.
Okay. Well, Our Eyes, we'll hold your spot and we'll try to take a look at that. I'll see if the AWS link works, but I guess we can go to the next song. Is Lil Shino gonna be listened to today?
Possibly.
Maybe. Do you want to just go to the next song then for now?
Yeah. Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. Because the waveform did load. It is interesting. But yeah. Okay. Life goes on. Unless they deleted it too.
I think you're seeing the other waveform loading.
On my screen?
Oh no, now I
They
see
did.
it there. It definitely didn't load on the overlay, and then it gave me an error when I tried to load it.
No, sheesh. Yeah, mine worked. I wonder if it was your internet. I guess I should have tried.
But is it working in the preview or is it working on the actual big player?
I'm on the player. When you say preview, you mean the overlay?
The preview, I'm talking about where you see the submission on the left side.
Oh.
So, but you were seeing Our Eyes
On the big player, yeah.
I mean,
seeing it on
again, though, that might have been the other waveform.
Yeah, it might be. Yeah,
Okay.
it doesn't seem to. The play button doesn't seem to be lit up on mine. So
Yeah. Okay. Something's weird going on there. Anyways, we'll do Black and try to see what's up with that file.
yeah.
Okay. So
Alright.
Black's track is Life Goes On. He's the artist, and the genre is rap. It's by Sonorous, and the track description is Hi.
It's by Sonorous for real.
Oh, nope.
Oh,
No, Sonorous.
but
It's
Black.
also a weird live data issue.
Yeah. It's by Black. Okay, cool. Yeah,
Strange.
mine didn't say that. It must be just interesting. All right,
Yeah.
let's do it. 3, 2, 1.
Oh my god, it's Prometheus Beats.
Oh,
Die
classic.
with the money, born on poverty. Grind for the blue strips, even for the life of me. Fail after failure, lose all sanity. I stain red from the pain and the depths of
What is
me.
going on with the auto tune?
A couple L's, but I say that I'm learning. I'm afraid to
That
try,
sounds better.
'cause the danger I have lurking. But I'm
Still a little weird.
Life goes on and on and on.
At one point,
Right.
but these lies I have heard it. I've been doing good even though it ain't perfect. Happiness is new, but I know that I earned it. Life goes on and on and on to the next one. Ball like it's M1. Work every day for the opportunity.
Sidechain is very noticeable in the kick.
Wind chasing after me, praying for a night with Megan Cardi B. Why? I've been tragedy. I'm in agony. Lamborghini, 4 Giottos, penthouse suites and baddie models. Lizzie Band, baby, and I'm ballin' like it's no tomorrow.
On the head of the beat.
Took a couple L's, but I say that I'm learning. I'm afraid to try, cause the danger I have lurking. But I'm bossed up, so you know I'm out working. Life goes on and on and on. Running from the truth, but these lies I have heard it. I've been doing good, even though it ain't perfect. Happiness is new, but I know that I earned it. Life goes on and on and on. On and on, on and on, on and on and on. On and on, on and on. Life goes on and on.
It's an interesting chorus effect.
I was feeling sad, sitting on the sidelines. Now I'm living right, flexing in the limelight. I was down bad, feeling like I'm out of time. Now I'm feeling great, cause I got my money right. Took a couple L's, but I say that I'm learning. I'm afraid to try, cause the danger I have lurking. But I'm bossed up, so you know I'm
I
out
like the
working.
lyrics.
Life goes on and on and on. Running from the truth, but these lies I have heard it. I've been doing good, even though it ain't perfect. Happiness is new, but I know that I earned it. Life goes on and on and on. On and on and on. On and on and on and on. On and on and on. Life goes on and on.
Cool.
Cool.
That was Black. Josh, what do you got? Vibes,
Uh,
first impressions.
I mean, the vibes are good. It's it's a cool track. It's not quite as unique as like when he tries to be funny.
Bro, I mean that the last week's track was a banger.
It was fire.
Yeah, but it wasn't him rapping. It was
Oh,
another vocalist. I think he was on the beat and
but honestly, that one also sounded like it was produced a little bit better
yes.
than this.
Yep.
My main complaint here is the fact that I think it's mostly because of the kick. The kick is like the other end of the spectrum where it's like a little too boomy, in my opinion.
A little too thick.
It's also it takes up a lot of space. It doesn't feel like it's really like processed that much. Like maybe it's not compressed enough, or maybe it sounds just kind of stock or something. But it's also again very boomy and very loud.
The
And
808?
yeah, it sounds to me like what's happening is it's sidechaining to the whole track. I'm not sure if that's the case, but that's what it seems to be doing. And the sidechain is very noticeable and very fatiguing. Every time, see if you, I was trying to say this earlier, but see if you can listen for after the kick stops each time, how long it takes for the sidechain to bring the vocals and everything else back up to the original level.
Like the release? Got
Yeah,
it.
let's try to play it.
Chasing after me, praying for a night with Megan Cardi B. Why? I face tragedy. I'm in agony. Lamborghini, 4 Giottos, penthouse suites and baddie models. Lizzie Band, baby, and I'm ballin' like it's no tomorrow.
It definitely takes center stage, yeah.
Do you hear that?
Yeah.
I mean, every time the kicks like stop for like more than a second, which is also a really long time, you hear the level of everything else, the bright elements, like go up with a delay, and it doesn't sound natural. It sounds like the volume is just like modulating up and down the whole time in the track, and it's especially problematic because, well, one, your hi-hats probably shouldn't, like all the high-end stuff shouldn't be that noticeably sidechained. Like if you have a shorter release time, then it might sound okay, right? Because what you're trying to create with a sidechain on like an 808 or a kick is the effect that kick is like putting a hole in the track right when it comes in, and then leaving the track as it was when it comes back out, right? It's like if you're to like punch into a sponge and then you like, come back out, it should follow you back, instead of like you punch in and it's like in SpongeBob where there's like a hole that stays there, and then after a second it pops back out. Like that's
Mhm,
it's distracting. It's
mhm.
just like a weird wonky uh
It could be
audio
stylistic,
auditory
but it
effect.
doesn't work here.
It could be, but it's yeah, it's this isn't what it's like that's purposed for.
Yep.
It doesn't sound quite right. So
Mhm.
and it's especially problematic because the vocal needs to be like center stage the whole time.
Yep.
The vocal should not be getting ducked by that 808.
Yeah, this isn't an EDM flume song where
Yeah.
you can show your producer chops here.
Yeah.
It's
That's where
Pac
you can
talking
use
about his
that.
life, so
That's the spot that you can use that really long release time, and that this
mhm.
is not that.
Yep,
Uh,
I
so
agree.
yeah, you gotta make sure the vocal stays center stage.
Mhm,
Uh, and it just, I think that's the main issue. But to me, like the leveling and the volume, just feels like it's inconsistent and kind of all over the place in the track in general. I just don't know what's supposed to be front and center, kind of. And like the backing vocals then like come in every once in a while, and they're like they kind of just like come in hard and then leave hard also.
mm,
They're not like very smooth or like backgroundish. They're kind of like half volume but like full brightness, if that
yep,
makes sense.
yep,
So they're just there and they kind of stick out. They don't blend in as
mm,
well as they could, and maybe that's some EQing to make them sound a little bit less present.
mhm,
Maybe it's some reverb to make them sound further away. Maybe it's some stereo stuff to make them sound more integrated into the backdrop of the track. But right now, it's just like they're plopped in there, and it's distracting. Like our focus is being pulled all over the place. It feels like because of the way the mixing is right now.
mhm, mhm.
But again, like track is catchy. Like your delivery is good. The auto tune, you gotta do something with. I
I
think
think it's the dil I think it I mean, just using autotune, it sounds like he's in between 2 notes a lot.
maybe it's weird though. It's got this like rubber band effect
Mhm.
going on almost where it's like yeah, it just sounds like notes are kind of going a little bit like beyond and then
Yeah,
back, and it's
it
kind
sounds
of
like
like
a very high retune speed, so it's trying to adjust to the pitch that it's supposed to be correct,
yeah.
but he's not hitting the pitch correctly, so it just kinda, and if he's doing it where he's recording it at the same time and listening to that, it could be like in a feedback loop where he's like, "Oh shit, it's going higher, I gotta go lower. Oh shit, it's going lower, I gotta go
That's
higher."
true.
I don't know if that's what happened, but that could all easily be fixed, I think, after the fact, unless, like, when you're singing, you're doing like, you shouldn't be doing that, but, like, you could just pitch
Doing a
correct, like
Tarzan?
yeah, 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 or like that Post Malone, like, "Circle,"
Yeah.
but even that's,
That
like,
was good.
stylistic. Thank
Yeah.
you, thank you. But, yeah, so, what I'm saying is you can, like, just kind of either 1, retake it, I think that's the easiest way, but 2, you could just, like, shift your initial kind of, audio, in Ableton, you just kinda, click warp, and then you're able to shift the pitch a little bit, like, manually. If it's going a little bit sharper, you just shift it a couple cents down, and then it should stay in the same note, and you won't get that warbly effect. It's definitely less noticeable. I don't know if it's a performance thing, but like in the beginning of the song, like where it was just his vocal front and center, you're like, "What is going on with autotune?" It's like very noticeable. When the
Yep.
beat comes in, it's less noticeable, but I'm not sure if it's because it's masking it or if it's because you sang it better. And I don't know. There's like more supporting things for you to listen to, but yeah, that's something to watch out for sure. I
Yeah.
think that was one of the kind of main points for me, because that is supposed to be the front and center thing, and if it's a little bit iffy to listen to, then we don't like that. So, yeah. Um, and I'll go more into content when we go into content. But what do you have for vibes?
Yeah, let's see. In terms of scores.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think I know where we're at.
3, 2, 1. Baba Booey. Gabagool. Yeah, I could. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
It's in that range.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I could do that. All
Yep.
right. Content. What do you have?
Um yeah, again, content. Like it's a catchy song. Uh I think like
On and
good
on.
lyricism going on, and
Somewhat. I think he's back to his mainstream stuff again,
yeah.
which
Which
I know he's a funny guy.
we've kind of like
He
talked about
wants to
this.
be a Drake so bad, bro. I just not a Drake fan. That's all.
Yeah. I mean, look, like we've kind of talked about this in personally, like in the context of building like a product, which also we can talk about after this track a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah.
But like building something that people might want, it's often harder to do that to make something that people really like if it already exists, kind of.
Mhm.
Because if it already exists and it's being done well, which like mainstream music by definition is,
Mhm.
then you have to do it better or just as well but slightly different, like in a different enough way that it's interesting, but the quality has to be like on par in
Mhm.
order for anybody to care. So that's different than like your last track you sent us, where like who the fuck is doing that? Like that's super unique
Mhm.
and you, right? And it's like your artistry stands out. So like even if the production wasn't on point or revolutionary or the song structure wasn't revolutionary, you make up for it very easily because the core thing itself is unique and different and
Funny.
uh funny.
Just some top.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was
See,
good.
still stuck in our heads.
Yeah.
But that's just something to note that like you kind of have to commit if you're going to do something that's already like being done to making it just as incredibly good in terms of quality and then also having something at least small to differentiate. But you can also go the other route of having large differentiation, like something that's totally different, totally unique, totally new, and not having to worry as much about all the small little details and perfections and like extra bells and whistles needed for like a mainstream track.
Mhm.
So, kind of just like I think most artists need to kind of pick a lane and ultimately it ends up being your artist like sound, right, that you choose. But it's just hard when like an artist has their foot in a bunch of different genres and they can't decide what they want to make theirs,
Mhm.
because you have to like build up the specific skill sets needed to make your sound work in the genre that you've chosen.
Mhm.
And most people can't be good at like 8 different genres.
Mhm.
So I think you should probably like I think you're on the journey to finding your sound, Black, and I think you should lean into the things that make you unique because those seem to come easier to you than making a really great mainstream track that's like to the quality level of the stuff that's out there already.
Mhm.
So that's what I would want to see. But it's I mean it's cool still. You've got the sensibility for like a good mainstream song. It's just like use those sensibilities and put them into your unique stuff. So like add the catchy melodies, like
Mhm.
add some of the production stuff, whatever you need to do. But
I need some weird bars for him to do to
yeah, like
to I want
lean towards
some
the unique
uniqueness.
side. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I see right through it, Black. I talk to you too. I do appreciate the things that we talked about too and how it shows in your music, but there is stuff where I'm like, did he just kind of phone it in there? Like it's like that's just like a mainstream talking point. Um, and yeah, and then
Yep.
shout out the horny bar about Meg the Stallion and Cardi B. You ain't slick. All right, cool. Content.
Yeah, I've got a score.
Just some mid. All right, you ready?
Yep.
3, 2. Yeah, sure. No, you can't influence me.
All right, I
No.
won't. Just keep your score there.
All
It's
right,
fine.
production.
Yeah, production is the area that I think probably needs the most work with this.
Hmm.
Like
I
I
thought it was
said,
like
just
somewhat solid, but yeah,
yeah. I mean, I
there were
think
some weird things happening for
the
sure.
auto tune thing and the weirdness with like the vocal level, the spacing of like stuff, the way that the backing vocals were integrated, the side chaining of the 808 and the boominess and loudness. I just think that it feels all over the place because of those small details. I think if they were like fixed, it's not a long stretch to get it sounding good.
Mm.
But those things just felt like the volume is modulating the whole time and like the main lead vocal is not front and center the whole time. It's just like distraction the whole
Yeah.
time.
Excuse me. I agree with that. Cool.
Okay.
Um, yeah, beat wise, I thought it was like decent too,
Hmm.
but nothing too memorable. But okay, you have a score?
Yep.
3, 2, 1.
Oh,
Gabagool. Track
cool.
total.
TT. Let's see.
TT.
What do we
Titties.
got? All right, I got a score.
There's a strip club in Albuquerque. It's called TD's
Wow.
or Titties.
Nice.
All right, you ready? Three,
Yeah.
two, one.
Oh,
Yeah, gotta get
nice.
that 59 there. One
Nice.
day you'll be a 69 Black. One day. But
Yep.
yeah.
Cool. All right. I guess let's try
Little
to
Shino.
fit little Shino in here.
All right, little Shino, you are you still there? We got you, bro. Oh, Black's here.
Black's
Yo.
here. Black, did you just miss your review?
Yeah, we just finished,
We
bro.
literally just wrapped yours up.
Just some
Like a millisecond ago.
Ta. Oh damn, I got here too late. You got the VODs. Basically, bro, why are you back on your mainstream bullshit again? You got to do that funny stuff, bro. We talking. I don't like the pre-cum bar, but like
Oh
throw,
God.
throw it on some SpongeBob. You know, all of it. Hate to see it. I hate to see it. You're correct. Yes, I do hate to see it, but I'd love to see you. But cool. Let's do Lucina's track. Josh got to get out of here soon, so
Yes, let's do it. All right. Want me to read the deets?
yes, definitely.
So we got Barcelona by Lil Shino / It's a Beat.
No, he always does that, bro.
Yeah, it's
Every
his
time.
artist.
That's wrong. It's
Yeah.
wrong, Lushino. Yeah.
And he's the producer. Genre is trap. No description.
All right, cool.
Barcelona.
I'm ready.
All right. 3, 2, 1.
Nice. Just plug and B.
Oh, I was like, that's why I think it sounds terrible.
I like it a lot. Woo!
That's cool.
Yo,
It's a little dissonant.
I love that.
It's a little bit ambiguous harmonically, if that makes any sense.
Timbres are great.
Like, what chord is this? Bass is indistinguishable.
It's a vibe, bro. It's a vibe. All right. Lushino. Bro, I feel like I want to freestyle on this, bro. Just use auto-tune. I'd love to freestyle. It'd be great.
Is this made in band? What's it called? BandLab?
If it was, bravo.
No, FL.
Yeah, a lot of my. Is that a guitar? Yo,
I don't know.
Tino, I like this a lot. You're doing great. You did great.
The layering is cool.
It's like the mix is like pretty clear too.
You think so?
Yeah.
I don't think so. I just don't know what could go over this though.
Oh, it's some auto-tuney like like for sure.
Yeah.
That's like what the genre is. This would be great. I feel like Welly could go on this. Sounds like one of my. The guitar might be a little loud, but I like this a lot. It's great. Wonky switch up here at the end.
Feels like it's getting a little bit long now.
Yeah, probably not needed. This is like a transition to a different song, I feel like. Kind of cool. Eerie. Sinister. Alright. Barcelona, Lil Shino. I liked it a lot. Yeah. What do you got?
I mean, yeah, there's some cool aesthetic stuff going on, like some interesting sounds.
This Zoomer core for sure.
I suppose. I to me it feels a little bit more in the realm of like a lot of layers kind of just slapped together.
Mm.
Like I don't
I
know
feel
if
like
every
I could pick apart, like, each thing that I was, like, wanted to listen to. I don't
yeah,
think I heard anything that was, like, buried, you know?
I think I did. I think I heard like a lot of little random things kind of being introduced at different points that were like
Mm,
just came in then kind of dropped out or didn't quite feel cohesive with like what
mm,
was happening at the moment. And I also think a lot of the sounds don't sound. I mean, I guess it's plug and B, so take that for what you will. But compared to all other music, it's like a lot of the sounds are almost like they've been time stretched with like a really outdated algorithm.
mm,
You know, like when you do like stretching on a sound and it gets all like grainy.
mhm,
The newer like like even built-in algorithms in like Logic and all these other DAWs are really good at stretching without introducing artifacting. But
mhm,
this has that quality like everywhere. It's almost like MP3 artifacting. It's a
mm.
little bit different than that, but it's just like things feel grainy, kind of.
Yeah.
Um,
Are you talking
it,
about, like, the guitar sounds?
to an extent, that's like one thing, or
I
it
feel
all
like it's
just kind of goes
stylistic.
together. Yeah, of like things sounding either like they're bad quality because the audio's been like wrecked so much,
Mhm.
or it's like sounds that are very stock, or
Yep.
it's a mix of both.
I think that's
And
what it is. That's
I
kinda
think,
like the plug and B style too, I feel like.
yeah, yeah, it might be, but I don't know. Like my ear is just attuned to hearing like the like sort of amateur quality that often gives across because it's
Mhm,
like when you make something and you don't know how to make music yet in like GarageBand or wherever, and you're like doing all these things without like real skill or expertise, often you end up with those effects just by happenstance. You end up with like bad time stretching and like sounds that don't really go together and layers that kind of just pop in and aren't like cohesive.
mhm,
So to me, that's how it comes across. But maybe to people that are really into plug and B, it doesn't come across that way. It's like a stylistic thing. Or maybe it's a rebellion against like the whole notion that you have to put a lot of quality and care into music and it's like that's what plug and B is. Like I don't really know, but yeah, I just think it sounds like a lot of the tracks we've heard in the past before we kind of like talked about plug and B
mhm,
as a lot of layers thrown together without a whole lot of care as to how they fit uh, on top of each other in each moment, but also as like a cohesive track or story.
Oh, yeah. This is
Um,
definitely a type beat, for
and there
sure.
are things too where there's like the bass, like the 808 or whatever, is so low that it doesn't really have like an audible root note.
Yep.
So the like motion of like the chords, because there are chords, right? There's like harmonic content going on. It's in a key, but it's ambiguous enough because of that inaudible sort of low bass note. What uh, chord we're on, right? So it's
Mhm,
impossible to paint like a sort of cyclical journey of like we started here, went here, and came back because the whole time it's kind of a mix of just like different colors all at the same time.
mhm,
So yeah, to me, my main takeaway is it just feels like a lot of things put into a DAW and then bounced out. And I
mhm.
know there's more than that. I know you're like selecting sounds and you're like putting them in different places and stuff.
Curating.
Curating, yes,
Mhm.
but I don't know if it comes together as like a fully formed idea at this point.
Yeah, I mean,
But
without
what
a
do you think?
vocalist.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm looking at this as a type beat. There's definitely parts of it I really like,
Yeah.
and I could freestyle to this with my friends. And Los, I put in one of my friends' names. His name is Sire. He makes songs like this and is pretty good. I think you would appreciate his style too. Um, but yeah, no, I thought it was enjoyable. I can hear what you're saying. I feel like literally, like if you listen to Plug and B, like this would kind of fit right in. To be quite honest,
Hmm.
so
Does
yeah.
Plug and B like are there specific Plug and B artists that actually do really well, or is Plug and B a lot of just like SoundCloud artists with few followers?
Probably both.
Okay.
Yeah, there's definitely like cream of the crop when it comes to Plug and B. I'm not super steeped in the scene to know who they are. I think it's a style from a guy named DJ Plug. So yeah, there's a guy that kind of like invented that wave. Um, but yeah, if you listen to the artists too, like they're like known to be kind of they call it pocket, but it's not exactly on the beat. It's like they're typically really ahead or really behind. So like yeah, it's just I don't know. It reminds me of like the kind of countercultural thing of like hyperpop too, where they're like, let's just fucking blast up the hyperness of pop and like just limit everything to the absolute fucking max, distort everything, scream. um, make everything super melodic and like I don't know. Plug and Beats might be like something similar in the opposite direction, where it's like let's use fucking sounds that were used on PS2 songs or something. You know, like
Maybe. I mean, I am curious to hear some of that stuff actually, because if there are good examples of plug and B that are playing around with the
calibrate.
pocket,
Yeah.
that sounds more interesting than just like shit on the grid that happens to sound bad and therefore sounds a little bit like plug and B.
Well, when I say on the pocket, it's usually the vocalist. Like usually
Okay.
the beat is pretty like this, pretty
Okay.
standard. Um,
Interesting.
but it's like a juxtaposition, I guess, of like these standard super stock ass, like old ass sounding samples. Um, kind of very clean sounding too.
Yeah.
Not like super heavy effects. Although the guitars sounded pretty neat. Um, kind of clean mix. And then when the vocalist comes in, it's just like he's off the fucking he's off the grid, but it sounds really good. So yeah, it's interesting. So I don't know. I feel like it's kind of in this genre, and that if he's trying to like sell it to people that are in this genre, I feel like this would do pretty well. So yeah, that's what I feel about it.
Okay.
Vibes. Score. You got a score?
Yeah.
3, 2, 1. Hmm. Yeah.
Bit different.
There's a disconnect.
Here, wait, I'll do this so it's inverted.
There you go. There you go. Yeah,
um
try to boggle that, Shino. Whatever that means.
yes.
What do you got for content?
Um I don't know if I can say much about content because I mean, aside from what I already said about like sound quality and also the way that things are layered, like, does each layer have a purpose? I kind of want to just go back honestly and hear a little bit.
Mhm.
See, that whole section, like, it sounds like there's supposed to be like chordal movement,
Mm.
but there's not. There's no distinguishable like different chords. I think there's supposed to be
Like there's no pad or something?
two chord changes. No, not about pads, but like there the what is it? That guitar thing and something else.
And then
They
the
are
ooh.
doing with their notes that imply chords, right? They're
Huh.
not just melodies.
Mm.
But the bass underneath it and I think that pad are not changing. And
Mm.
so there's this disconnect, right? Your brain sort of starts to feel like, okay, this might be this chord, even though I can't really hear the bass. But then as it changes and the bass stays the same, now it no longer makes sense. So if
Mm.
that implied bass note that you heard relative to the other notes was the one that you assumed it was, when the notes on top change and the bass note doesn't, some of those chords like don't make sense anymore.
Yeah,
Uh,
that might be I don't know, like the bass, I think you might have talked about it too. It's kind of so low that it's inaudible. Like
yeah,
that might be why I'm not really picking up on it cuz I'm not really mad about what's happening to be quite
sure.
honest.
I mean, to me, like what's weird is that this is like a little bit of an R&B ish type thing, right?
Yep.
Like if you were to compare this to like a similar R&B song that's got like those kind of like fake guitars, which you can find, right?
Mm.
And like a similar like hi-hat vibe and bass and all that stuff with pads. Uh, it's like going to be a lot cleaner, obviously, 'cause it's not plug and B, and you're gonna be able to tell where the chords are moving, right? And that movement creates like the journey, right? It creates emotional changes. But when it's just brown the whole time, it's just one mixture of all colors, right?
Brown as
Because
well.
it's like if you think of each chord as having a color,
It's
but
just
now
shitty.
all the notes are mixed together.
Yeah.
That's what you have. You have all the colors just mixed together.
It's just poopy like a
So
brown like
it's just like it's smeared across
oh
the
god.
waveform.
Just
But really,
smelly.
like what chord even is that? If you were to try to like play a triad on the keyboard,
Is the kick hopping or is the bass hopping around? Is it going do do do? Is it doing stuff like that?
it might be. I can't really tell because it's so low.
It's at the end where doon 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 doon. It did
Sort
something
of,
like that.
yeah.
But
But it's just not locking together in any meaningful way to create harmonic structure. There's the vibe is there, like the sounds are there.
yeah.
Check mark. The vibe of like the way these sounds come together is kind of like R&B-ish in like a lo-fi plugin way. Like check, right? But because of the bass and because of what all those layers you've slapped in this DAW are doing harmonically, chords are not being created. Like there are no actual chords here because there's this mismatch between the notes that are being played, most likely in the bass, and between the other instruments. So they all think they're doing different things. These samples are probably all from different like songs potentially where there's a chord structure, and you're like mixing like one chord with a different one with a different one, and it comes across as just like a mess of different things, at least to me. And it doesn't like guide the listener through a series of feelings, which is basically what chord changes are. So it's like I don't want to get too bogged down in like the music theory part. It's not about the theory.
Yep.
It's just like, are the band members playing together, even like remotely, even close, or are they all just in the same vibe but all playing different songs? That's
Yeah.
sort of what it sounds like to me.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't get that as much. I see what you're saying. I think my head might be filling in kind of what the chords I feel like would be in. Because,
Mhm.
like, I'm over here thinking that I could freestyle this melodically. And, like, when I'm doing that, I'm also, like, kind of inputting what the chord I feel like would be. And
Yeah.
I feel like
Well,
it's happening. But
this is the thing though. I would love to see somebody actually like freestyle or go on this,
yeah.
because I think it would fall apart. Like I genuinely think that you think that you can sort of hear a hint of like chords,
Mhm.
but as you like lay down melodies, it'll be really hard to make them make sense
Mhm.
because it's just not there. Like
Unless
it's
they
sort of
make the chord with the, like, backing vocals. I feel like it's possible.
maybe
Like, I
po-
don't yeah, I don't get it.
possibly.
Yeah, I don't get it as strong for this
It's
song
just
you put
the
on.
the level of ambiguity is high basically, and I think it's just because
It's
of the way.
higher than regular, sure.
Yeah, because of the way that the layers are put together, I think there are some layers that, yes, they're in the right key potentially, but they're like nonsensical, or they don't really like add anything in the moment. They're just kind of there also,
Mm,
or they're adding to that vibe or that era that you're kind of imagining, but they don't add to the musical like moment sort of,
mhm,
as far as things locking together and having like good balance and proportion and um uh a story kind of.
mhm,
So I'd be really really fucking curious, which is why I honestly don't love the idea of reviewing a type beat,
mhm.
because it's like it's not a song. Like almost no humans actually would like add this to a playlist.
It's a beat.
Most beats would not get added to anybody's real playlist
Mm.
unless you're a rapper and you're looking for type beats.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna
So it's
say.
kind of like hard to rate this because we're always trying to come from the listener's perspective
Yeah.
when something is purposefully incomplete. It's like maybe it would be good if you had Chance the Rapper on it. Like who
Yeah.
fucking knows how it actually turns out, right?
Yeah.
If we're saying this is maybe probably a valid type beat if somebody goes on it and they're good enough, how do we give a rating for that, right?
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
my like honestly, I think the way that I usually think about type beats is like if it's not really impressive on its own, I'm not going to assume that an artist could go on it and like lift it up from the trenches,
Sure.
right? So that just by design, that's going to like subtract some points for me. But
Sure.
yeah, it is what it is.
Yeah.
Any other content thoughts?
I mean, I probably will just, like, agree to disagree a little bit on your point there.
Sure.
I see where you're coming from. But a lot of the elements I really like. I like that weird, like, super crispy sounding guitar. I think it's a little loud, but I think it's
I think
cool.
it's interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, it has that classic kind of slidey E piano that Plug and B has. That woo. I agree with Josh a little bit that the bass is like too dang low to I can't really pick out a note, and that might be contributing to the factors of why harmonically it's not very um, clear cut
Organized.
for what Josh is saying. So yeah, take all that with a grain of salt. Other than that, though, I do like this as a type beat. The change up at the end was it felt like too extra. It didn't feel like it didn't really need to be there. It feels like it's a transition to a different song. Um, that being said, I do like it musically, but it by the end of like 3 minutes 30, I was like, I don't really need to hear this at this point. I feel like I got the total message of the beginning stuff. And if you're offering somebody a switch up for a type beat, it's like you should probably do that sooner. Um, but yeah, that's about all I have for it. I do agree with Josh in that it does sound like some things are added kind of like nonsensically. And I may be giving it a little bit too much grace for it being a type beat where people typically switch things around to their own liking anyways. But yeah, that's the advantage, I guess, of being a return uh, submitter. We know that like that's like what he kind of does. He should be putting it in his description that it's a type beat because if it was. a standalone song, it is more nonsensical. So, yeah. But that being said, I do like the content here. Um, so yeah. You want to score it?
Yeah.
3, 2, 1. Baba Booey.
Boom. Okay. Bit of a difference.
Yeah.
Um, and then production, I don't know. To me, it's like when I feel like most of the sounds need to be either like changed or removed, or like the sound quality is kind of low. It's hard to see a pathway to making the mix sound really great.
Yeah.
Um, so it's kind of like hard to know where you are before you kind of redo certain things.
Mhm.
Especially with the bass, like that's a huge part of making a track sound well rounded mix wise. So I don't know, production. I don't really have that much feedback I feel like I can give, just
Mhm.
because like the sound qualities themselves kind of determine what you can do mix wise.
Yep.
I don't think there's a lot of like space being given either. Maybe that's part of it too, is that like everything is kind of just thrown in. It doesn't feel like things have a clear place in the mix.
Mhm.
I think it's a hierarchy of like if you do have a clear place for everything in the song, arrangement wise, it becomes possible to see where things should go in the mix, like, spatially, right? But if there's not enough logic in arrangement where things are, there's like no possible way to like place things in the mix in a way that's logical because it's the next level up.
Mhm.
So to me, like you'd have to remove some things, or maybe just some of the chords are going to have to lock together because that helps instruments lock together, which means that then the mix can like help them lock together. But I just think if everything's kind of doing its own thing, there's like not a really clear way to mix it so
Mhm.
that things have good separation and audibility and impact across the spectrum and space and all of that stuff. Like you can try, but it's going to sound like people it's either going to sound like people in different corners of a far room playing different things, or a bunch of people close together playing different things.
Mhm.
So it's like, pick which sound you want. There's not as many levers you can pull to get a really like artistic mix, I think, if the underlying track is too random or far away from the standards of like a well rounded mix's underlying sounds. So that's kind of my take. It's hard to give mix advice on this other than like it is or isn't too loud. It is or
Yeah.
isn't too
I mean, that being
hot
said,
top
the
heavy.
guitars are too loud.
Yeah, I mean they're probably my favorite like element.
Yep.
Um, they're nice and like open and sort of bright, which is like almost refreshing here.
Mhm.
Uh, but I could agree they sound a little bit loud compared to everything else.
Mhm. Mhm.
Um, yeah, I don't know. You got any other like production tips?
I like the quality of the sounds, to be quite honest. So I think it's like right up the plug and B alley to be, unless I'm just listening to shit artists whenever someone shows me plug and B. But I'm like, this is like what it sounds like to me.
Well, if the sounds are good though, like any observations about the mix that you can think of, like how does it sound in terms of like
I think it's more so an
quality?
arrangement kind of thing, like what you're
Okay.
saying. Because when I was listening to it, I could really kind of I could like pick apart each thing. Like I didn't
Hmm.
have any trouble about it masking.
Yeah.
But more so, it was like maybe they shouldn't be stepping on each other's toes.
Yeah.
That's
Maybe a
what.
little bit busy, but
Yeah,
yeah, clarity is was fine.
yeah.
But maybe it's not a genre where you're trying to achieve a really pristine mix. It's just kind of like
I
things
feel
can
like it
sound crunchy and wonky and all thrown together, and that's how it is. I don't know.
maybe, yeah, maybe. I mean, I feel like this is a clean mix. I don't feel like it's super dirty or anything or distorted or like when I listen to it.
I think what I'm probably perceiving is just the overall busyness of like a
Yeah.
lot of different layers, and then some of the individual sounds being a little bit crunchier than I would maybe like, or a little bit more like uh what's the word, like degraded. Like some of the sounds sound like they've been like stretched and they're wonky, like don't sound high quality, that kind of thing. It's hard
Hmm.
to differentiate that between mixing
Yeah.
because they're both about how the sounds are like qualitatively.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know.
I'm gonna just play this out while I give my score. Let me see. Yeah, no, I feel like it sounds pretty clean. Okay, score, production, age. Where am I at?
Yeah.
Where am I at? Where am I? Okay, let's see. 3, 2, 1.
Boom. Not bad.
Down. Track total.
TT, let's see.
Teddy's.
Oh God.
Teddy.
All right, I got a score.
Hold on. 3, 2, 1. Yep. About double.
Just about. That's exactly double, isn't it?
Yep. Yep. It is.
Nice.
There you go. There you go,
Cool.
Luciano. You owe me. You owe me, little bro.
Shino.
And Alstrom C. Did you submit? Let me see.
No,
I don't
we
think I
should have
did.
been clear. Alstrom, if you submit, you'll be first next Friday, specifically.
Oh yeah.
But either way, that's what we got time for today.
Yup.
And a reminder again, we're live next Friday. If you want to get notified when we go live, follow us on Twitch.
Yeah.
And also join our Discord, which we've been sharing links to. We have polls in there for each track. So if you want to rate them on your own, you can do that. And also you can leave other people feedback. If you do that, maybe they'll give you feedback on your track, or you could also, ask them to. Other than that, we've got a platform that we've been working on very hard behind the scenes. So FastTrack and the platform that you see all over the place, the platform you're probably on as you've submitted your track, also houses our music collaboration suite of tools. So it's currently in closed beta. We are inviting users kind of manually to sign up. Let us know if you have any feedback and just kind of chat with you guys. So if you're interested in that, hit us up on Instagram, either our own or the FastTrack_music one, or in Discord, and we'll get you private beta access so you can try it out. But the gist is that the collaboration suite allows you to upload your projects, upload tracks, and then versions in those tracks. And you can share that whole project or individual tracks with your collaborators. So everyone's up to date on the most recent revisions. You can all leave timestamped comments along the waveform of the audio. You can tag people, they'll get notified. You can create tasks for yourself or for others. You can assign them, add due dates. People get notified again to stay on track for your release. And we're building a whole bunch of features to help you.
Oh. What's up, guys? It's just me. I guess his internet might have just went down. But yeah, we're building a bunch of features on the way. It's actually coming up very soon, within this next month. It'll be team building stuff. So build your team, assign each other roles, eventually assign each other royalty splits, all that stuff that's kind of in the pipeline very soon. So hey, Josh.
You can see me. Yeah, I don't know what happened. It like flashed and then I could see and hear everything, but it was like I was invisible.
Yeah, I think you just talked about the project manager's features and then was about to talk about teams. So
Yeah.
yeah.
So yeah, that's what we're working on. We're very excited to help you guys, make music better, faster, easier. Collaborate with all your people. Eventually, find people to help you out too, because it takes a lot to make music. And to kind of build your own like label for yourself in a way. So you've got somebody with a role for everything that needs to be done, and you can all collaborate. You can message each other, get notifications, etc. And maybe we'll build in some AI features too to help like do jobs that you hate doing, right? Everyone loves like working on their music, but there are things that I think everyone doesn't like about releasing music, whether that's planning your releases, just dealing with all the like, other small details of like releasing music and figuring out how to deal with royalties and like all those little things. In some cases, you might also want to use AI to help you with your creative process too, not to replace you, but just to like give you inspiration. So we're working on all of that, and again, would love to hear your feedback, your requests for features, and get you to try it out. So again, hit us up if you want to access FastTrack_music Instagram right there, either of our personal ones or Discord. And yeah, other than that, you got anything else, Chris?
Nah, I'm good, bro.
Sweet. All right. Well, thanks everyone. It's been another stream, and we'll be back next Friday on our regular schedule. So peace out. Have a good weekend, everyone.
Peace.
See ya.